Hey everybody, Curlychronicles here, and today we are doing the sourdough shuffle. Are you ready? All right. So, uh, this video is coming to you now because someone had commented on the sourdough starter video, and they said, "Where the bread at? Where the bread? We want to see the bread." So, this the bread. So we're gonna make some sourdough today, and I'm just gonna go through step by step. And the recipe that we're going to be following, as you all know, I like to look for the very easy and simple recipes that are here on YouTube to kind of help you kind of dip your pinky toe in the world of baking or making sauerkraut or making kimchi. Sauerkraut's next. I've only done kimchi, haven't I? Yeah. So sauerkraut's coming up next. But today's recipe is going to be from Alexandra's Kitchen. It is a fantastic channel here on YouTube. I absolutely love this channel. It's probably one of my top 3 channels because I tried out various recipes and they all have worked out beautifully. And I felt like I knew what I was doing because I followed the video. So a huge shout out to Alexandra's Kitchen. I love the channel and I love the recipes. The focaccia bread, the sourdough pizza crust. There's even these little ciabatta buns that there's a recipe for. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So that's what we're going to be following today. And I'll be doing some voiceover for some of the parts that are a little bit more monotonous and that are going to be kind of like on a repeat because there's a few steps that you do a couple of renditions of. So we're going to go through our ingredients and then we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay. So of course you're going to need a bowl. You're going to need a kitchen scale. Those are pretty cheap. Find one on Amazon. You're going to need a spatula. Get a silicone spatula. It works best. Trust me, everything else just gets really sticky. Like this wooden one I'm showing you here. It doesn't work very well. So just hear me. Please don't fight me on this. Just do the silicone one. You're going to need a bench scraper, or there's another name for it, but I have a couple of them. This is one that I got free in like a little kit or something. It's flexible, it's thin, it works well. This is the Banneton that you proof your bread in the fridge. And the bench scraper right here, this came with that Banneton, so that's why I was showing you them together. But this is not fun. It's hard to use. It's very thick. It just doesn't work very well. So if you see that one, this bamboo looking one, it's kind of beveled. I would say do not go with that one. Go with that one because it's thinner, see, and you will be able to work a bit better with it. I'm going to show you the one that I typically use in a moment here. This is a metal one. It's by Pizza Craft. I think I found it at either like a Ross or a TJ Maxx or Marshalls or something like that. I like this one. It's pretty ergonomic. It works well. It's very sturdy. So yeah, there's that. You're going to need some sort of tea towel or cotton cloth, 100% cotton cloth just to cover your bread with. You can use just a regular kitchen towel that you may have on hand too. And then you're going to need a lame, which is like a fancy way of saying a razor blade on a stick. And then we're going to go right into the ingredients here. All-purpose flour, salt. I use Himalayan pink salt. I have my starter here that I fed. It did rise. I got it to double in size. And yeah, we're just going to start mixing the ingredients. We have our water. Every time I look at this kettle, I'm just really angry at myself for using it outside for camping. I shouldn't have. And then I'm doing a float test here. It floats. I was really happy. I was very proud of myself. And so I'm adding the sourdough starter into the water. And I think I used almost all of it, but not quite. I think it calls for 50 to 100 grams of sourdough starter. So I used most of this, and whatever I don't use, I end up making like this savory sourdough pancake with it, which is delicious. I will show you that too. I will show you. Next, I'm mixing the water with the sourdough starter, not to fully mix it, but just to kind of break up the starter a little bit. And so you'll still see some large lumps here. Next, I'm going in with the salt. 11 grams of salt is what this calls for, but y'all are going to watch the video because the video is just Just watch the video. It's perfect. And then I have the flour. I am using the all-purpose flour here, and just kind of measuring that. Remember to zero out your scale each time you add in an additional ingredient. It will save you some heartache because it's very easy to forget. Now I'm mixing everything together, and again, this is where the spatula, the silicone spatula, is going to come in handy. It just does a far better job. And I actually moisten my hands. I moisturize my hands just a little bit with some coconut oil because it helps keep the dough from sticking to me. You can use water too, but my hands are a little bit ashy. So I was like, I might as well just use a food grade something to, take care of this. I don't want to disrespect the people. So, but now you see how I just pulled that off there? That shows you this is just not quite ready to be shaped yet. What we're looking for is very stretchy kind of consistency, like silly putty. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover this after we mixed it up, and we're going to leave it for about 30 minutes. And we're going to come back and we're going to start doing our stretch and folds. It's been 30 minutes, magic. And so we're going to look at this and kind of see like, okay, how's it looking? Oh, wow, stretchy. That's what you want. So that's good. So we're going to do our stretch and fold. We're going to pull it up and then kind of pull it over to the opposite side, turn the bowl, and repeat. We're going to try and do 8 to 10, but you'll know when you can't do anymore when the dough starts to fight you a little bit. You can't quite tug it up. It's not as stretchy. That's when you know you're kind of at the end of that particular stretch and fold session. So cover, leave 30 minutes, rinse and repeat. And then we will come back. I'm explaining something here, probably explaining what I'm explaining to you right now. I had to cut this video down a lot, but this will work just fine. This is the next stretch and fold, and I actually deleted some footage of one of them, so I was kind of annoyed, but you do a total of 4. You can do 5 if you want to, but what we're looking for is this window pane test that we do where you stretch it and pull it up. And if you can see the light kind of through the dough, that's a good sign that it's ready. So I think I'm feeling almost like it's almost there, but I'm doing one more stretch and fold just to kind of, make sure it's on the right track though. So I'm going to do this and then we're going to cover it up again. And it looks like, I think I'm feeling like, wow, this is great. I like to test it as I go and just kind of make sure that, I'm not being presumptive about, what's going on with the dough. I like to just make sure. So you'll see me doing this sometimes here and there. And I'm like, oh, yeah, here it looks like it's even more. I'm even more able to kind of see, so thumbs up. I was like, yeah, the window pane test worked. So I let that sit in a container to rise for about 8 hours. And this is the result of that. So after you do your stretch and folds, you kind of put it in this vessel and then you leave it somewhere warm and then it rises to double its volume. So that's where we are. It's kind of like gelatinous. It moves like gel a little bit. And then once it gets that double in volume size, you are going to powder surface. You'll see that I actually taped my glass cutting board down so that it didn't shift around. I never want to drop it, so I secured it to the countertops with just some masking tape. And now I'm using my spatula to kind of pull it out of the container. And we're going to get that down on the floured surface, and we're going to start to shape it. We're going to do 2 shapings. So I powder the top, I flour the top a little bit just so that it doesn't stick too much. It can be a little sticky, but not so sticky that it's just getting all over the place. It can be a little annoying. So just a bit so you can kind of work with it. You want to get a little flour on top, and then you're going to pull. You're going to stretch it out a little bit, and you're going to pull from the top to the bottom, and then you're going to pull from the bottom to the top, almost like you're making a burrito. And you're going to kind of stitch in a way the bottom layer up towards the top. You're going to pinch it so it kind of holds its structure. Then you're going to pull like the right side over towards the left and the left side over the right to kind of make what is going to start to look like a ball. And we're going to use our bench scraper in a moment to kind of turn it over. So that was upside down. This is upside up, right side up, we could say. And we're going to use the bench scraper to kind of pull and tug. You're going to push it and pull it towards yourself to shape it into this tight ball. And that helps with the structure of the bread, and you'll get that bulbous kind of shape when you can get the bread kind of tight. So once we do that, we leave it for about, I believe 20 to 40 minutes. So I think I typically just go for 30 minutes and call it a day. And I powder. I don't know why. Is this just my ultra femininity talking? But I flour the top just a little bit to make sure it doesn't stick to the cotton. Cover it, and then I start to put flour into the banneton, because that's where the bread's going, or the dough ball is going next, after that 30-minute rest period. So I put that to the side, and then we come back. It looks like we are ready to do the final shaping, and then place it in the banneton. So I think I'm going to get to it. I think it's coming. Okay. I was like, I realize now how much I was talking. I was talking a lot in this video. I should not have been talking that much, but I like to talk to y'all, and it just flows. So I am continuing to do the final shaping on this. I just turned it over, and so I'm doing that little pinching and stitching thing that I do here. And then I'm going to continue molding it and kind of shaping it into that tight ball form again. I want to try and get as tight as I can. So you'll see me kind of flip it over. I always make sure that I have enough flour surrounding it, because it's just really annoying when you start chipping away pieces of the dough and you don't mean to. So shaping this into a nice ball, and yeah, you kind of got to take your time with it, because it can take a while sometimes. It's a learning. It's a small learning curve, but you get better pretty quickly. So then I turned it and turned it upside down to put it into the banneton, and I'm stitching kind of the top closed. Some people do this to create a little bit more tension as well. And then I'm powdering. Powdering means flouring. Okay, that's what it is. I am powdering the bottom, and I'm covering it with the cheesecloth. And this is going to go in the fridge. I decided to put this into a plastic bag. And so now it's next day, magic. And I took it out of the plastic bag that had the cheesecloth or cotton cloth covering it. And I can't tell what I'm doing because the recording bar is in the way. Anywho, what you're going to do is you're going to take some parchment paper and put that over the bowl, the banneton. Then you're going to put a plate on, and you're going to flip it. And so now the top of the bread is now upside up, or right side up. And you can peel that banneton off, and that flour will help make sure it doesn't stick. So I can see everything looks good, nothing stuck. That's great. And now here I am showing you, this is the final shape of what your bread is going to rise from. And so this is good because it's not falling off flat all over the place. That would be kind of annoying when you put all that energy into it. So now we're going to slice the bread, or score the bread, as they say with alum. And that helps relieve pressure that builds up in the bread, so it doesn't just explode all over the place. And just, your shape can be a little misshapen, sort of. And so I usually do this twice just to make sure that I was certain that the scoring was deep enough. I usually score my bread about 1/2 inch in depth, sometimes 1/4 inch if I'm just forgetful. And now the oven has been heating up to 450 with the Dutch oven. This is a Lodge brand. And what I'm doing is taking the top off. I'm pulling the parchment paper by each side to hold the dough ball, putting it in, putting the top on, and then pushing that tray back in before closing the door. Oh my goodness. It is time. It is time. It's been in there. It baked. It browned. Let's see. Woo, yeah. let me, oh, look at her. I'm proud of her. Baby, I'm proud of you. Look at that. That's great. So, as you can see, there is oven spring. It is nice and brown on the top. I like light bread, but I like a little brown top. Ooh, I got some hard little pieces that popped up there. Nice. I am very proud of this. And I will show you some pictures, but if you have these blisters, they say that is a great sign that you had a nice successful bake. The bottom is not too brown. That's great. Okay. Very proud of that. Very proud of it. This is because this recipe is that amazing. Like, go watch that video. I'm not going to tell you all again. Go watch the video. It's fantastic. So, let me just leave that in there. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, I'll be back with something else fun to make. I just try to share the knowledge. I'm just trying to share the knowledge that I stumble upon every now and again. I have a little bit of knowledge to offer myself. But in the meantime, go and check out the video and let me know if you end up giving it a try. Thanks. See y'all later. Have a good one.